Right, hello and welcome to another story from the Levite Night. This story took place in about 1980-81, I think, if memory serves correct. I was working in I was a stores manager in a big building stores. We supplied building equipment for plumbers, builders, electricians, etc. So it was a very manly environment. And every night when we left the stores, we all used to run across the yard to the car park, get into our cars, all sit in the car park, revving our cars like it was a Formula One race, and then we headed for the car park gate at 5 miles an hour because there was a speed limit, because there was a school either side of the gate. But it was the revving that was the fun. It was also the time of CB radio, Citizens Band Radio. It had been in America for a long time, but it had just hit the UK. And a lot of us had CB channels in our normal cars with cables dangling from the ceiling and mics. And as soon as we hit the main roads, there we were, speaking to each other. We all had angles, nicknames. Mine was the foreman storeman because I was the foreman of the stores. There was Sparky, who was an electrician. There was Charlie the Dip, who used to dip wooden gates and doors into creosote and paint. Some called him Charlie the Drip because after he'd dipped to them, he used to hang them up and they used to drip. But that's another story. So there we are in our cars talking to each other. This might be me. Foreman Storeman, this is the Foreman Storeman. Foreman Storeman, over. Foreman Storeman, anyone there? And then somebody would say, Sparky the electrician, Foreman Storeman received, over, where are you? The Big Island, I'm at the Big Island, bad traffic, taking a detour through the back streets, over and out. And that's how it was all the way home. Ridiculous. But we thought we were good. This happened every night. Lock the stores, run across the yard, into the cars, rev the cars, and away we go. This particular day was a little bit different because during the afternoon, I, as the foreman storeman, had received a memo from up above, from the management. And I read this memo, and it was part of my job to read the memo to the storeman and to sign it. So I read it, I signed it, read it, they all signed it to show that we'd all read it. So far, so good. At 5 o'clock that night, we were all at the store's door, ready to go, spot on 5. I was always a little bit longer than the others because I had to set the alarm and lock the doors, make sure the lights were out. So they were all in front of me. When I got to the door, my friends and colleagues and the other storemen were across the other side of the yard, this time waiting for me, shouting, come on Charlie, come on. They'd never done this before. They'd usually be in the cars revving. This time they were waiting, and I thought, oh, that's great, they're waiting for me. So I started to run across the yard. When I say run, I very quickly came to a standstill because the yard, that was very sizable, had been freshly concreted 8 inches deep. My initial momentum took me about 4 or 5 feet into the concrete, after which I started to walk like I was on the moon. My friends at the other side were absolutely killing themselves laughing. What they'd done, they'd moved the 2 big red cones that was outside the store's door to one side because those cones were there to remind people that the car park, that the yard had been cemented. Once those cones had gone, my consciousness was just to, like every night, run across the yard. I did this. As I say, I didn't get far. I trudged. I thought, shall I go back or shall I continue? I was this deep in concrete. I was lifting my feet up. I decided to carry on. All I could hear was laughter and shouts of congratulations, etc. Charlie, the foreman, storeman, stuck in the floorman, etc. They found it absolutely hilarious. I finally got through this lake of concrete. They all got into their cars. I sat in my driver's seat with the door open, emptying my boots, just trying to get myself sorted so that I could somehow eventually drive home. What I didn't know was that on the way home, all the other storemen and joiners and electricians and plumbers had all been on the CB radio saying, all get to work early tomorrow and give Charlie a guard of honour along his footsteps, which by then were dry and 8 inches deep. When I arrived at work the next day, everybody was there, clapping, cheering, congratulations again. It was a moment then that I wish hadn't have happened to me. But now, all these years later on, from 1981, I'm glad that it did. I'm glad I was the one who ran through the cement. I'm glad I was the one who everyone was laughing at and everyone was cheering for and everyone was just having fun at my expense. But the moral of this story, I think, because there is a moral, is when you get the memo, read it, sign it, and remember what it says, because that one was telling us that the yard had been concreted. Thank you.